They're owners of Fords who, since seeing our story earlier in the week, have come forward with serious complaints about their territories. While other car giants haven't hesitated recalling their faulty models, Ford, as Vassal Melandris reports, still isn't budging.
I managed to get out and have a look and I said, oh my God, the wheel has just fallen off the car. And there it was, the wheel was just hanging.
Backing out the driveway, big thump, got out, one wheel went that way and the other wheel went the other way, and that was it.
They're the flawed Fords that the giant motor company doesn't want to know about.
What I believe Ford Motor Company owes the Australian public is to honour an obligation that I believe they have.
Some 80,000 Ford Territories were sold between 2004 and 2005, but many owners are now complaining about serious problems. Ball joints popping out of their sockets, sometimes causing the front suspension to collapse in a heap.
These have been failing as little as 30,000 kilometres, which is a pretty scary thought.
Since we exposed this apparent defect, Ford has owned up to the fault, but stresses only a few people lodged complaints, and while they're investigating the matter, it doesn't seem to warrant a recall.
I would say there would be thousands of them that have failed, and I've ascertained that information from people like PETA, who are a major front-end repair division, from a handful of major repair companies throughout different states of Australia.
In the past couple of days, we've also been inundated with similar stories from other Territory owners, and angry that they've had to fork out money for what they say is no fault of their own. Like Adelaide mum of three, Jackie Teggeth.
Turned on the TV, next minute here it was, Ford Territories and problems with suspensions. I nearly died. I thought, oh my God, this has just happened to us. I couldn't believe it.
Jackie's 2004 family wagon is holed up at her local dealership with a $5,000 damage bill after her car ground to a halt on a main road.
I thought, oh my God, what's happening here? I haven't hit anything, I haven't done anything. Cars beeping their horns at me, I'm stuck in the middle of the road. Something seriously has gone wrong here.
And you had your daughter in the car?
I did have my daughter in the car, and we just looked at one another and said, this can't be right. We just felt really, really lucky that it happened where it did. It could have been a tragedy.
It's not the first time her Ford has failed her.
The brake lines have gone in it. I was driving home once again around Greenwith and being very hilly, you do need your brakes, and we've got a very steep driveway. Driving home, next minute there's no brakes. The foot just went straight to the floor.
A few months later, Ford was pressured into ordering a recall on the brake lines of Territories. However, to date, they're still not budging on the ball joints. Perhaps they should take a leaf out of what Toyota and Honda are doing, with massive worldwide recalls of some of their problematic models.
We thought we had this wonderful family car that would last us a lifetime, but with the issues we've had, you certainly don't get what you paid for.
Well, are you going to pay it?
No.
What will you do?
Well, I'm just not too sure at this stage.
Catastrophic, you know, you've got no control over the car, you've got no steering, it could go anywhere. I mean, you could hit anything, anyone.
Another Territory owner, another ball joint failure. But 51-year-old Claudio Tarka says he's given up taking the car back to Ford. No longer under warranty, and having missed a service, the repair bills, he says, are just too high.
They said it was a common fault in the Ford Territory, the ball joints.
Ford told you that?
Yes.
And yet?
It's not a safety issue.
How can it not be?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But is it just the early model Fords causing the headaches? Well, not according to some. Even though the design of the ball joints have been modified, we're told there's still cause for concern on 06 to 08 models. Engineer and Ford insider Les Felix.
It's the behaviour of Ford that tells me that that sort of description's not far away from the truth.
Underhanded?
That's how I perceive it to be. But I guess they're just trying to nurse through the life of the car so it's eventually crushed and sent to China to become something else. And in the meantime, they've got to try and protect their reputation as best they can. And sometimes saying nothing and admitting nothing is the way they do it. It all depends on their spin doctors.
In the meantime, all disgruntled drivers can do is pursue a class action, while others say they have little option but to pay for their repairs.
I would have liked to have thought there was some advocate, like the RAA used to do, that could do it on their behalf. But it appears like they've changed their role in the vehicle industry to a breakdown and insurance type company rather than an advocate.
I really will not feel safe in my car ever again, and I really don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, Vasyl Melandris there. Now, last week we showed you the shonky tactics being used by some companies to line their own pockets under the federal government's home insulation scheme.